And now, an on-air sports marketing presentation. It's Roc Manuch with Jimmy B. Now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD2, and streaming live at ArizonaSports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a record need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc Manuch with Jimmy B.
Brissett takes, hands it off. DiMercato up the middle, got the first down and more. Off to the races, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. All the way for the touchdown. 72 yards on 3rd down and 1. DiMercato with the house call.
After review, the ruling on the field is a fumble forward through the end zone for a touchback. It'll be first down at the 20-yard line for Tennessee.
It's hard not to laugh at that.
I had to chuckle, too.
I mean, I did, too.
Yeah.
It's just sad. But anyway, joining us now to talk some Arizona Cardinals. He is the ESPN reporter for the Cardinals. You can follow him on X at Josh Weinfuss. And that is Josh, who joins us now on the Right to It, a guest line here on ESPN Radio Phoenix. How are we doing today, Josh? What's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, I am great. Thank you for having me.
Well, I appreciate you coming on with us. We'll start with the one you just heard with DiMercato. How do you expect him to bounce back from what will be one of the most infamous plays in football history, I think?
What was the first part of that question?
How do you see him bouncing back?
So it's interesting. Like I said this earlier to a friend, actually. Like if there's 53 people on the roster, he probably would have been like 53rd on who I would expected to have done this. He's just very just stoic, very kind of composed, just kind of one of these guys that you can tell talking to him for a few years has his act together. I was shocked. And I think if anybody could come back from this pretty easy, him, I think he understood the gravity of it. I was kind of watching on the sideline, and at one point, a smile crept across his face. But it wasn't one of those like funny smiles. It was one of those like, you gotta be kidding, right?
Yeah.
I just think he's just built mentally to handle it. I can't imagine what he's kind of the wrath that he's facing right now. But I think from what how I've gotten to know him a little bit over the last few years since he's been with this team, like I just feel like he has that personality to not let it bother him.
Okay.
Whether that might be different internally, but externally is kind of how I see it.
My follow-up question to that, because of the situation, was what took place on the sideline with Gannon. And then Gannon comes out in the press conference and says, hey, I apologize to him and to the team. What the hell is he apologizing for? Look, I've been covering this game for a long time, longer than there was dirt on the field. I've been alive.
Yeah.
Why would he apologize? There was no need to apologize. It's man to man. You made a mistake, own up to it, and then get over it.
Yeah, I think the part that really was sticking in people's craws was the physical contact. I don't think anyone cared they got in his face. Like I think people expected that.
Yeah.
I think in the way that Jonathan responded, we have never seen that from him in 3 years. He's always tried to be this even-keeled guy. And he's kind of hung his hat on that. And obviously, the way that game was going, it's just, the way the last 3 games have gone, you can tell there's a lot of emotion boiling up in him. And obviously, it exploded in that. But to me, it seems like he was apologizing for touching him. Like to me, there's no place for that, right? Like, you don't touch a player. Player doesn't touch a coach. Getting his face, I don't care about. Yell at him, scream at him, call him every name in the book. That doesn't bother me. Yeah. But I think the fact that he touched him, I think that's where I think some people see the line as being crossed. And to me, that's what the apology was for.
Okay. I'm glad that you clarified then what you felt it was about. I want to play something, and I hope you can hear it clearly down the phone. This is the offensive coordinator, Drew Pensing, talking about Kyler Murray and also talking about the 3rd down play when it was 3rd and 8, and they ran a running play. Here is Pensing on there are no checks on that play.
There are times where he has checks. He did not have one there.
Why not?
Just the play that came in did not have a check on him.
What percentage of the plays does he not have a check on?
I mean, that would be very different from game to game.
All right. Now I'm really upset. This guy's been playing 7 years, every quarterback. If you're in the 7th year and you're supposed to be the stud of the team and you're the starting QB, you should be able to check if you see something there where you can visualize that the original play call is not going to work. Am I all wet here? Because if I am, lay it on me.
No, you're not. I was actually a little surprised by that answer. The way I always understood this offense is that they have hots and checks on every play. And obviously that's wrong, right? I was not expecting that answer from Drew today because of kind of how I've understood this offense to be built. But yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like, especially with a guy like Kyler, like you said, he's been in this league 7 years. He's a veteran. He's very football savvy. He's a very high football IQ. I think that giving him that authority to just make these plays, I kind of expected that to be on every play, but apparently it's not. So I was a little surprised by that. But I do think that to some degree, his foot injury played a part in this, right? Like Jonathan Gannon said it yesterday, that they had to take some things out of the game plan after Kyler came back from his foot thing. I asked Petzing about it too. He said there were things that they had to go look at and basically realize they weren't able to run those because of Kyler's issues. So maybe that played into it, but I was surprised as anybody to hear that there are plays that don't have checks on it.
Josh, Kyler called this one of the worst losses of his career. You sense that this could be a turning point for him as a leader, or just more frustration just boiling over here?
He actually called it the number one loss of his NFL career.
Yes.
Yeah,
Worst
it was.
loss, yeah.
So that's how bad it was, right? And for him to say that, like that's bad, right? That's real bad. I don't know. Like it's honestly too early to tell. Like, call me back in 3 weeks and I'll have an answer for you, because this is one of those losses that's either going to go two ways. Like, this is going to tank this season, right? Like, this was the puncture of the balloon and it's going to deflate for the rest of the year. Or they're going to be like, okay, like, we need to turn this around because we're tired of feeling like this. Now, going against a red-hot Colts team is not the best way to fix that. And then you have the Packers coming up, and then you have the bye after that. It's not – these aren't the two best games to try to get back on track, right? But here's the thing. Like, this team, I think they have the firepower to do it. We've seen that. We've seen them do whatever they want offensively, and then we've also seen them do absolutely nothing offensively. So, like, which team's going to show up? We don't know. I feel like this is a question I've been asking for like 3-4 years now. Going back to Kingsbury, we had no idea which team was going to show up with Cliff either. So, but they have the defense to play well, right? This is a very good defense. And now it's the offense, right? To me, this whole rest of the season is on the offense. They need to figure themselves out. And if they can be consistent, if they can put games away, they can get those first downs, those key first downs late in games. Like, this season could turn around, but if they can't, it's going to be a long year, because this defense is good, right? Like, from front to back, it is a solid unit. They've been doing their part, but after a while, you get worn down, right? Like, you're on the field so much. There's only so many plays you can make with tired legs, and there's only so much depth you have as a unit. So I just feel like at some point this offense is going to either have to click for all 4 quarters, or it's just going to be one long year.
All right, then I'll follow up then, since we're discussing defense and offense. On the offensive side, why does it seem, at least in the game this past Sunday, that Marvin Harrison Jr. was MIA?
I mean, he wasn't in the first quarter and a few minutes, right? Like, he had an incredible first quarter. They went to him early. And I think what's interesting is I asked Petzing about this today. My question was, does he notice that teams start playing the Cardinals differently after Marvin kind of has some big plays? And he said, yes. He said they've shifted, or the Titans kind of shifted some coverage his way. They kind of retooled some things that they weren't doing earlier. So I was curious as to, like, then why don't you figure out ways to get the other guys involved? Unless there's just not enough talent around Kyler, Marvin, and Trey McBride to make that happen, which I think is a legitimate question. So, I mean, why Marvin why does he go MIL? I think is a good question at some point. I don't know, right? Like, I think that's just a product of they need to feed him. And as you know, coaches don't like to do that. They don't like to admit that they're doing it. They don't like to do it. But I think at some point you need to give him routes, consistent routes that are going to get him open, whether that's a slant, whether that's, mixing with some go balls. Just do some things, or maybe you go away from him for a few plays and come back to him, like kind of, lull the defense to sleep. I don't know what it is, but you need to keep him involved, because once teams realize you're not going to him, they kind of just stop playing him like they were early in the game. So it's an issue. It's been an issue for a year and almost season and a half almost. And I if I had the answer to that, I'd be an offensive coordinator.
He's ESPN reporter Josh Weinfuss with us. Josh, when you look at this team and maybe the locker room and the big picture, how close is this team to like losing confidence in the coaching staff, considering they've lost or they've blown 3 straight games at the buzzer?
I don't think we're there yet. I think it's more of a outside narrative, right? I think it's created by social media and all this other talking head stuff. I don't think they're there yet. Now we come back in like for 3-4 weeks, and if we're looking at 2-7, 2-8, 3-7, whatever it is, this might be a different conversation. But there's still only 2-3, right? Like a lot can happen. I think that people started to kind of pull the fire alarm after week 3, and I'm like, well, it's 3 games, guys. They're still 2-1, then obviously 2-2, and now 2-3. 3-game losing streaks aren't good. 4-game losing streaks are even worse, and 5-game losing streaks are brutal. So let's get to the bye. Let's see how we're doing, how they're doing in the bye, and then kind of we can reassess. But right now, I don't think this locker room has lost faith in this coaching staff. But there's still time, right?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, there is time. Yeah. Hey, how good are the Colts in your estimation with what Daniel Jones has been doing there? I
mean, what did Bill Parcells say? You're as good as your record says you are, right? They're pretty good, right? I think Jones has figured out how to be a quarterback. I think getting out of New York helped a lot of people and helped him. I think this Colts team is going to give the Cardinals a lot of trouble. I mean, they're a buzzsaw right now. You don't want to run into that as a team on a 3-game losing streak. So, but we saw with the Titans, right? Like they came in winless, and it's you kind of put up or you don't, right? And I think the Cardinals are either going to have to play the game of their lives to get back on track, or they're going to get cut in half.
Josh, Joe Flacco to the Bengals. Did you predict that?
I did not. It was funny because I asked, I was like, how many players, or I don't think there's been a player that's played in all 4 teams in a division. And we were kind of just talking about it in the press room today. And I think the one name that came to mind was Mike Upati, who was an offensive lineman here. He played for the Niners, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals. But it's 3 teams in one division.
It's crazy. And then to get
a lot of
traded.
Yeah, it is a lot of jerseys. Yeah.
Donovan McNabb, he went from the Eagles to Washington in the same division. And the only other quarterback is Drew Bledsoe, who went from the Patriots to the Bills. So this doesn't happen very often.
I mean, here's the thing: like a guy like Flacco, he's great for any locker room, right? He's been around for a while. He's won a Super Bowl. Even if he doesn't play, he can mentor these young quarterbacks. And I think that honestly, like being around this game for as long as I have, like that's what every team needs. They need a Joe Flacco on their team to help young guys. And I mean, if we can get into it with Kyler, like he didn't have that early on. Right. And I think that I know there are people in the building now that truly believe that was an issue for him early on. As no one really was there to be like, hey, this is how you should be a pro. And I think Joe Flacco brings that to locker rooms. I think Kyler, he needed that, and he's kind of getting that a little bit now with Jacoby Brissett, because Brissett can be that buffer, and Kyler didn't have that, especially with Cliff Kingsbury, and he needed it.
Josh, thanks for jumping on with us, man. Have a good week, and we'll catch up with you here in a week or so. Appreciate your time.
Sounds good. Absolutely.
Thanks, Josh.
Josh Weinfuss joining us, ESPN reporter, ESPN.com. You can follow him on X at Josh Weinfuss. He does a great job. He's been covering the team for a long time. This portion of the show is brought to you by Biggs American Bar and Grill. We're there every Monday night, right there at the P83, which is located 83rd Avenue and Bell Road. We do our show from 1 to 4. Then we stick around for Monday Night Football. And at halftime, 20 people are picked to roll the dice for $10,000. Next game Monday will be Bears and Commanders.